You're watching the Wise Channel.
It's the Weiss Channel Special Edition. And once again, this is Adriana, my daughter and helper today. So today, I want to talk to you about percents.
Wow.
All right. So you know how you get those 20% off coupons for Bed Bath & Beyond? But then you get to the store and you're like, well, how much will I actually be paying? And you don't know how to do that. I'm going to show you how you can do that just like that. Easy, okay? So here's the basic idea first. If you want to take 20% off a $100 item, hopefully, obviously, that's the same as $20 off, but it's only the same when it's $100. So when you take 20% off a $100 item, you have $100, okay? And you take off 20% is $20, okay? And so how much is that going to be? You're going to have $80. That's how much the item will be. No problem there, all right? But how do you do it when it's not $100? Okay. So what if I want to take 20% off of a $70 item? Here's how it works, okay? The concept is, I'm not even going to show you the easiest way yet. The concept is this. The concept is you have $70, okay? What's 20% of $70? Well, all we do is we multiply by 0.20 or 0.2, okay? So if you do on your calculator 70 times 0.2, you will find you'll get 14, okay? So 14 is 20% of the $70, meaning you have $70, a $70 item, and you're going to take off 20%, which is the $14. This is the 20%, okay? So 70 minus 14 is going to give you 56. That's the general idea. Now, here is the shortcut method. Let me explain how the shortcut method works. Would you agree that any item you're buying, the percent is 100%? Everything is 100%. If you're taking off 20%, would you agree that you are paying 80%? Does that make sense? Right? If it's 20% off, instead of paying 100%, you're now paying 80% of the item. So my point is, instead of doing all the work we just did, here's what you should do. Here's how you make your life easier. Instead of taking the 20% and subtracting that from the 100%, why don't you just pay 80%? And, all right, do you understand what I'm saying? In other words, you took off 20%, all right? This number here is 80% of the $70, right? You said we're paying 80%, right? So Adriana's going to help me here. She's going to grab her phone calculator, because you can easily do this with your phone calculator.
Yep.
Well, actually, this is her iPod, but anyway.
Who cares?
Right. So here's what she's going to do. She's going to take the $70, right? Remember we said that this is 56, right? And instead of multiplying by 0.20, she's going to multiply by 0.80. 0.80 is the same as 0.8, okay? So, Adriana, would you show them on your calculator how you do that? She's going to do 70 times 0.8 and see that she gets 56. Right?
Yep, that was 56, all right.
$56, okay? Now, here's even a shorter cut method that you don't, if you know your multiplication facts, there's no problem in getting 56. All you have to do is, if it's 20% off and you realize, okay, well, wait a minute, 20% off, that means I'm paying 80%. Oh, so take 70 and turn it into a 7. And take 80% and turn it into an 8. And just do 7 times 8. And you get 56. Now you know, without even using the calculator, how much you're going to pay for the item. Let's do some practice. See if you know what I'm talking about. Okay? See if you can come up with the answer before I do. All right? You want to take 30% off a $60 item. Well, if you're taking 30% off, okay, what are you paying? You're paying 70%. Does that make sense? Right? Because 100 minus 30 is 70. So a $60 item, right? $60, okay, times 0.7. Or couldn't you just do 6 times 7? 6 times 7 is 42. Were you able to get that before I did? All right. Okay. Adriana, you want to show people if you can get this answer before I can?
What answer?
This answer. All right. 40% off a $90 item. Well,
All right,
so what are you paying? If instead of 40%, 40% off means you're paying 60%, right? So aren't you going to do 90 times 0.6 or just 9 times 6, right? 9 times 6 gives you, did you get your answer?
yeah.
What'd you get?
50.
Should be 54.
Sorry.
Okay. Let's try another one. All right, here's where you will need a calculator, okay?
All right.
So if for some reason it's a ridiculous number like 37% off, well, okay, what is 100 minus 37? Well, hopefully you know that that's 63%. And if you don't, you use your calculator, okay? So now what you're going to do is you do 70 times 0.63. Adriana, could you do 70 times 0.63 on your calculator? Okay, 70 times 0.663 equals 44.1 or $44.10.
Now
Okay.
that's what the answer you'll get.
That's the answer. That is 37% off a $70 item. Okay?
Yep.
Now, I'd like to show you a way to do 25% off. All right? Now, of course, that's the same as paying 75%, but here's even an easier way. Whenever you're doing a number like 25%, would you agree that 25% is 1/4, 1/4, right? 25% is like a quarter. So like really, when you take 25%, you can think of it like this. Okay? You can think of this. 1/4 is taken off. But it's 4 pieces, right? 25%, isn't that 4 pieces? Ah, yes it is.
That
right?
makes sense.
That makes sense, right? So here's a quick way. If you can take $60 and divide it into 4 pieces, what's 4 pieces? $60 divided into 4 pieces. Well, if you know that 60 divided by 4 is 15, you know that 1 piece is 15. So all you have to do is take 60 minus 15. And that gives you $45. That's 25% off.
That does make sense.
Good. Okay. So that's a quick way to do 25%. So in the same way, if you're taking off 1 piece to take off 25%, 75% off, wouldn't that be taking 3 pieces off, right? So if I divided 80 into 4 pieces, if I took 80 divided by 4, that would be 20, right? But that's just 1 piece, right? That's 25%, right? I want 75%. Isn't that 3 pieces, right? So if I take 3 20s, right? That means I get to take $60 off, right? So 80 minus 60 is 20. Right? That would be a shortcut method. It would be a shortcut method if you can do this figuring in your head, okay? Otherwise, just do 80 times 0.25 on your calculator, and that might be a shorter method for you, okay? All right, so here's what I've done for you if you're interested, all right? I've given you some practice problems, okay? So, here's what you do. I'm going to say, go ahead and hit pause on your video, right? And go ahead and see if you can do these problems. See if you can do it really quickly, okay? And write down your answers, okay? All right, so after you've hit pause, all right, go ahead and play again, and then I'm going to give you the answers to those problems. Here are the answers. Okay? So see how you did, all right? Okay. You've been watching the Weiss Channel Special Edition.
Did it! Yay! Now we know what prices are.